What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So I want to show you this clip. This is Representative Larson at a hearing, congressional hearing, and he got really heated. Okay, now I didn't see the whole, all I'm seeing is the clip, and I'm going to show you that clip. I just want to talk about the reason why he is upset, and then kind of just talk a little bit about Social Security and what's next for Social Security. Because, yes, we have politicians talking about providing, eliminating taxes on people receiving Social Security benefits. We know the Social Security Fairness Act was just passed, and that's providing an increase for some people receiving Social Security benefits. So right now is a good time because it looks like you do have some movement in the right direction when it comes to improving or expanding Social Security. However, we don't have pay-fors. And because we don't have pay-fors when it comes to these expansions, it is really going to hurt the trust funds. We have trust funds that are, right now, they're being depleted, slowly being depleted. If we get to a point where, let's say, 8 years down the road, we're going to be looking at the trust funds being completely depleted and not have any money left. Right now, there's about $2.6 trillion, and if it gets down to zero, that means everyone receiving Social Security benefits is going to see a reduction in their benefits. And so I just want to show you this clip of Representative Larson because he's very, very upset with the fact that Elon Musk, you have this DOGE department that's looking into waste, fraud, and abuse. And what they want to do is they want to bring Elon Musk to one of these hearings so they can ask him questions. And this is normal. This is normal practice. You have experts that come on, people who are looking into different things, and you ask them questions. And you try to find out the best solutions to some of the problems. And so Representative Larson he's pretty upset because he wants Elon Musk to come and he wants to ask him some questions about where they've gone so far and what type of waste, fraud, and abuse have they really found. Because right now we're just hearing, okay, you have people who are 150 years old that are receiving Social Security benefits. And the fact is, they were able to debunk that, and I say you had some people that looked into this, and they said, no, that's not the case. It's just that if you put in the wrong birth date, then it will automatically populate it to 150 years old. It will show as 150 years old, and that's just so if you're doing an audit, you can look at that and say, okay, well, we know there's no one 150 years old receiving Social Security benefits, so we need to make adjustments, make changes. If they didn't have that in place, and you just put the wrong it didn't take the birth date, well, then it might slip by you. You might not be able to find that out. And so that's the way that the system works, their old system, the COBOL system that they were using. And so there's an explanation for that. But if there's more waste, fraud, and abuse, that needs to be explained, and it needs to be explained to Congress. So I'm going to show you this clip first, but then I want to talk about why is it important that Congress know about this? So that's what we need to talk about as well. So that's what we're going to focus on in this video. But first off, you guys can do me a favor. Please like the video. And if you're watching this video and you want to see more content like this, please consider subscribing to the channel. Okay, so I'm going to show you this clip. Now, Representative Larson's pretty fired up about this, and we'll talk a little bit about it. Here we go.
Where's the independence of the committee? Where's the legislature? We're an equal branch of government. And you start off with a blather, and yet look at the empty seats here. Where's Elon Musk? I'm sure he's a genius and is a very credible person because of the wealth he's accumulated. But that does not put him above the law or the responsibility to come before this committee in this Congress. If he's so great, if these plans and all the fraud and abuse that he's found are so eminent, why isn't he here explaining it? You know why. Because he's out to privatize Social Security.
Okay, so I told you he was pretty fired up there, and you saw the representative. I don't know who that was to his right, but he kind of jumped up, and the lady behind him jumped up when he was yelling. But he has a good point, and this is the point. When it comes to having people look into things, Elon Musk he's not working for the government. Okay, he's not a government employee. And so at this point, you can just look at him as an expert or an aide. You can say aide to the White House. That's fine. But he needs to answer to Congress because Congress has to make the decisions. Okay, it's not Elon Musk's decision to be made. It has to go through Congress because Congress, they hold the purse, they hold the money. And that's why they legislate. They put bills together. They say, okay, I want this in the bill. I want that in the bill. It's going to cost this amount, and we're going to approve it. We'll vote on it. We'll approve it. We'll send it to, the House will send it to the Senate. The Senate will then send it to the president, or vice versa. The Senate sends it to the House, and the House sends it to the president. But it goes through Congress. It has to go through Congress. And then it will go to the White House. And then you have the president having the ability to sign off on it. But Congress needs to play a role. And right now, we're not seeing Congress play a role. We're seeing DOGE play a role. We're seeing them look into things and say, there's waste, fraud, and abuse here, but they're not answering to anyone. All they're doing is saying, okay, they're going to the White House and saying, this is what's going on. Or they might even be going to some Congress people and saying, this is what's going on. But that's why they have hearings. They have hearings so you can bring these people that are doing the investigations. So if it's DOGE that's doing the investigations, you bring those people before a hearing, and then you ask those people questions. And those people need to answer those questions. And so a congressperson can ask, there's waste, fraud, and abuse. Explain to us what's wasteful and fraud and abuse. And that's when they'll go over all of this. This is normal practice. This is nothing out of the ordinary. The only thing that's out of the ordinary right now is you have DOGE looking into all these different agencies, but they're not answering to Congress. And they need to answer to Congress. And so, because ultimately it's going to be Congress's job to make these cuts. It's not DOGE. Because we have a representative government. Okay, we vote for congresspeople. These congresspeople are here to represent us. Because the American people, they didn't vote in DOGE, they voted the congresspeople in. And so the congresspeople need to make that decision. It's okay to have DOGE looking into these cases and to these different agencies. It's okay, but Congress has to play that role. And that's why he's upset. He's upset because Congress is not being allowed to play the role that they need to play. They're not able to look into, okay, who is checking DOGE? Congress needs to do that. So let's say DOGE makes a mistake. Who checks them? And we've seen some situations where you look at the DOGE tracker and it says it's $100 billion that they saved, but then when you start looking line by line, it doesn't add up to $100 billion. And so someone needs to check that. Someone needs to say, okay, look, you know what, your numbers are off. Is there a reason why they're off? And get that explanation. And so that's the reason why he's upset about this. And he talked about privatizing Social Security at the very end there. Now, I haven't heard Elon Musk talk about privatizing Social Security, but you do have politicians, some politicians that have talked about privatizing Social Security, basically getting rid of Social Security as the way it stands now. And that would really hurt people who are currently receiving benefits. And I've explained this before, but I'll explain it again. When it comes to Social Security benefits, you contribute 6.2%. Your employer, in most cases, will match that 6.2%. 12.4% goes to the Social Security trust funds, and it goes to help pay out benefits. That is the way the system works. Now, what we've heard some politicians say is we need to privatize Social Security. For those people who are younger, why don't we allow them to take a percentage of that 6.2% and put it in the stock market? They can invest it on their own. That way they'll have a little nest egg when it's time for them to retire. The only problem with that, well, there are a few different problems with that. You can invest that money. It doesn't guarantee that that money will grow. And over time, it could grow a little bit. It could not grow at all. So that's not a guarantee. So you could be taking money out of your Social Security and not have enough money when you get to your retirement. So that's one thing. Now, another thing is, when it comes to taking money out, you take a percentage of that 6.2%, and I always use the example. Let's say you take 2%. So 6.2% is what you're contributing now. You're going to take 2% out, and you're going to be able to put that in your own, invest it in the stock market on your own. Well, now you're taking 2% from that 6.2%, so now it's 4.2% that's going to the trust fund. Let's say 4.2% is coming from you, and then I don't even know if your employer would match the 4.2%, or if maybe your employer would take that 2% as well and invest that for you. So now you're going to have less money going. So 4.2% for you, 4.2% from your employer. So what is that? 8.4% going to the trust funds now. So you have less money going in to pay out benefits. And so that will stress the trust fund. The trust fund will be depleted much sooner, and we could be in a situation where now everyone sees a cut to their Social Security benefits. But the people who are younger, they're not going to feel that impact because they're not currently receiving Social Security benefits. And so it's going to be the people who are currently receiving the benefits. So that's what I'm trying to say there. So ultimately, we need to have, if DOGE wants to do their job, that's fine. If they want to do their investigation, that's fine. But ultimately, they're going to need to talk to Congress about this in an open hearing. I think the American people should be able to see it. Because if we're in a situation where we're hearing all these different things of waste, fraud, and abuse, I want to see what is really waste, fraud, and abuse. And if, they need to answer to it. And so hopefully we'll see a hearing and we'll have Elon Musk before Congress. But if we don't, that's going to, I don't know. I don't know how people are going to feel about that, especially people who are receiving Social Security benefits if we see cuts and there's no explanation. And so I want to know what you guys think about that. So let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.